Hello and welcome to Mtoto News Insights with me, Omar Ahmed. Before we start, let's first of all have a look at the headlines today. Kenya launches the first ever all-inclusive mass transit bus operation.
Planning children, but we felt that we can still improve on that and also come up with another application, which we are now calling the Pasha application.
We have chosen Timaro, a sub-county, because
using technology to combat FGM. Thank you so much for tuning in. Mobility company Rome on Wednesday launched the first ever electric and all-inclusive transport system that will soon operate in Kenya's capital. The bus, known as a Rome Rapid, has been designed to meet the needs of people living with disability, children, and expectant mothers. The program is the first ever electric mass transit bus operation in Kenya, catering to Nairobi's increased urban mobility. This bus will run for 1 year, and it is intended to showcase Kenya's readiness to adopt a reliable, sustainable, and efficient electric public transit system ahead of mass production.
Yes, I mean, first of all, it's the Kenya's power grid is a very green power grid, and they actually have a surplus of energy. So that means there is a great potential for using that energy for transport instead of using the fossil fuels, which has a lot of exhaust, a lot of air pollution, a lot of impact on the environment. So this Rome Rapid is a very inclusive bus. As you see, we have 2 doors on the side and 1 door in the front. The doors are very wide. The bus itself has air suspension, so it can actually kneel on one side. And then there is also a wheelchair ramp, so people with disabilities can easily board the bus. And there are safe spaces for wheelchairs as well. And these chairs that we're sitting in here is especially adapted for mom and child. So it's like 1.5 seat, like a small sofa. And then we also have these a bit wider seats for special needs as well. As you mentioned, we have noticed with the matatus, it's a bit crowded and it can be a bit unsafe almost to use the public transport, and that means many families with small children might prefer to actually get a car or take their car to work, which causes congestion if too many people are using the car. So that's why we wanted to like adapt this for families as well, so less people can use cars and more people can prefer to use the actual buses, because it's actually more comfortable. If you use the dedicated BRT lanes, you can get to your destination faster. So we want to make it a preferred choice for everyone.
So the activities we are doing is currently ongoing, and we strongly believe that by the end of this year, we also trying to task our new government to take at least one major step in encouraging adoption of e-mobility. So some of the things we pushed for are in regards to fiscal and non-fiscal incentives that we'd like to see our members being offered by our government. We want to see the cost of acquisition, local production, and assembling of buses, motorcycles, and any other vehicle, focusing on electric vehicles, getting a special incentives. One area we are trying to engage government is to see how the tax component on lithium-ion batteries can be revised and made more affordable, such that we become competitive when it comes to local assembly and manufacturing of EVs.
Still on matters of technology, the Kenya Anti-Female Genital Mutilation Board, in partnership with the UNICEF board, led a delegation of stakeholders in the fight against FGM in launching Kenya's digital mobile application called Pasha App, which will be used in reporting and tracking cases of FGM. The new system will allow users, especially those from the Kuria community, to report anonymously unfolding cases of FGM for quick tracking and arrest of the culprits. Mr. Jackson Onyando, a child protection specialist from UNICEF Kenya, while speaking during the launch of the Pasha mobile app, stated that the app has come at the right time when children are expected to close schools for a long holiday and the anticipated time for the virus to escalate in December. The official explained that the application is going to be free of charge and can be downloaded directly from Google Play Store by anyone. Take a look.
We will get the audio also that was recorded.
So today we are here to launch the Pasha application. That is a mobile application that will be used to report real-time cases of FGM. And as you know that FGM has been a very big issue here in Kuria, but we've been having challenges of reporting. So in partnership with the UNICEF Anti FGM board, we've been able to develop this mobile application to be able now to complement other existing reporting mechanisms. So of course we have 116, we also have 1195 for reporting cases of GBV and concerning children. But we feel that we can still improve on that and also come up with another application, which we are now calling the Pasha application.
We have chosen Timaro, a sub-county, because it's among the Kuria community that is one of the communities that practices this. And the timing is also because we are anticipating that schools will be closing soon, and children will be coming for very long holidays during November and December, and that is normally the time that the cutting happens. So this application is free of charge and can be downloaded from Google Store. Anyone can download it and can use it to report cases of FGM anonymously to authorities, to people they trust, and also to the Anti FGM board in the country for action. So this application has been developed over time, and we have tested it in counties. For the time being, it will use internet, but we are also in discussion with the board and the developers that we can develop an additional function within the application that can use SMS platform. So that is one of the lessons that we learned when we were doing the testing of the application. So places that are remote, that do not have internet access, we are in the process of developing an internet-based functionality that allows people to use SMS platform.
And that story takes us to our first break here at Mtoto News Insights. How do parents influence their children in their day-to-day lives? Today in our panel discussion, we discuss the importance of teaching children early responsibilities. So stay tuned. Welcome back to Mtoto News Insights. Before we took a break, I had highlighted on the topic that we are to discuss with my child advocates about the importance of teaching children early responsibilities. I'm going to let them to introduce themselves and then we start off the topic. Let me start with you.
Hello, Omar. It's good to be back. My name is Brian King. I am 17 years old, a trained journalist here at Mtoto News, as well as a child rights advocate.
Thank you so much, Brian King. Let's move on to the next person.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sheila Luangu, a trained child journalist at Mtoto News International, a right child's advocate, a student, and currently the president of Amnesty in my school.
Asante sana, Sheila Luangu, the president of Amnesty in your school. So umeongeza rank. Let's move on to the next person.
Thank you, Omar. My name is Doreen Kakai, Deputy Chairperson of Kenya Children Assembly in Kibra, and also a trained journalist here at Mtoto News.
Thank you so much, Doreen. So today we are talking about the importance of teaching children early responsibilities in their day-to-day activities. So maybe, Doreen, if I can start with you. What are some of these early responsibilities that you were taught by your parents or your guardians when you were young and they're really helping you even up to this point?
Okay, so the responsibility that my parents taught me, first of all, was to be responsible on whatever they have taught you. Whatever they have told you, you must do it. So like the easiest thing they used to tell me is to sweep the house, make sure that the house isn't dirty, maybe doing the chores of the house and like that, easy tasks in the house.
Asante sana Doreen. So indeed you are doing something and you have been taught some of the responsibilities, Indio?
Yes.
Okay, let's move on to Brian. Brian, maybe to you, what are some of these early responsibilities that you were taught when you were young, and even up to this date you're doing them and maybe they're helping you?
The basic form of responsibilities that we are taught to by our families is house chores. I guess we don't realize the importance of that.
Yeah.
But we'll get to it. We're talking about house chores. We're talking about responsibilities like handling simple money. We're talking about responsibilities like taking care of our siblings if we have any. So yeah, those are just some of the basic things we are taught. Some of the basic responsibilities basically that we're taught.
That you're taught, Cindy. So you've been taught even to handle simple money back then.
Yeah.
Right now you're handling big money.
We'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that, Cindy. Sawa, let's move on to Sheila. Sheila, were you taught some of these early responsibilities when you were young, and then they're basically helping you right now, maybe at home, some of the chores maybe?
In fact, this goes out for my mom. Responsibility, the way Brian has portrayed it, it's like it depends which kind of responsibility. You see, I'm the firstborn in my family, and the first responsibility my mom gave me is how to handle my other siblings. Like when she's not around, I'm like the mother of the house, you see, because I am the firstborn. I'm the next of kin.
You're the next of kin.
So the responsibility first I was taught is how to cook. How will I? Hey. That was just another story for another day. That's just another story for another day. Okay. Something else is my mom always responsibilities comes in what we think it's more like of use. It's not important. You see, my mom always taught us as like before you leave the house. I don't know if it's a responsibility, but because I feel like this is just a way we should be like receive this teaching. Before you leave the house, you have to pray regardless. When you come back, you have to pray. Something else, you just have to lazima utandike kitanda. That is the first thing. Ukiamka tandika. That is small responsibility. Mtu akiosha vyombo washa aje. That is responsibility also. If to budget, my mom could give you 200 and make sure umebai unga, umebai mboga, umebai nyanya, umebai kitungu. So to handle the way he said small money into budget. Utoe budget ya nyumba, unasema kitungu 5 bob, nyanya 2 bob, hivyo. And unamwambia mom, this is my change. That is the responsibility.
Asante
I think
sana.
umepata.
Asante. Okay, thank you so much, Sheila. So what I'm getting from you, and I think I'm throwing this question to Brian, is that we have different kinds of responsibilities that we children are getting from our parents and our guardians. So let's come to Brian. Maybe Brian, before you explain maybe if children actually do need some of these responsibilities, do you maybe what are some of these different types of responsibilities? Because Sheila's mentioned about the religious responsibility. Are there any other types of responsibilities?
Thank you so much, Omar. The question about types of responsibilities is diverse because you have to understand we come from different places in terms of ethnicity, religion, background, and all that. But well, there are those basic responsibilities. We have house responsibilities, personal responsibilities, religious responsibilities, or social responsibilities, that is. Now when we start breaking this down, so we can start from the personal responsibilities. Here you have a basic responsibility to shower, brush your teeth, eat healthy. You see, the basic things to keep you and yourself basically healthy. We go to the family household responsibilities. That is cleaning the house, making sure there's you're basically fulfilling your basic house chores. Social responsibilities are going to church, being a good person in general, not beating other people's cows in the way, not stealing and all that. More like those basic social responsibilities.
Okay, so maybe on that, before we move on to Kakai, the religious responsibilities that we are given by our parents. Do you believe, maybe as a child advocate, do you think the parents should be the one to condone the religious responsibility and the religion of a child, or do you think children are supposed maybe to discover it for themselves?
You cannot discover religion for yourself because I believe you're born into a religion, right? You do not know anything about religion when you're born. Of course, there is freedom to discover yourself, but I believe as a child, I don't know what to say specifically about that, but I do believe that a parent has a duty to guide their children in the path that they know until they can be able to discover for it themselves. So I think children should only be allowed to discover the religion and all that after they're 18.
Asante sana.
But don't quote me on that. It's just a personal belief.
No, it's okay. We're getting this actually from children and from the perspective of the child advocates. Asante sana, Brian. Let's move on to Kakai before we take a short break. Now, Kakai, do you think that children, do you think it is important for parents to be able to teach children early responsibilities like the religious responsibilities, the budget responsibilities? Do you think it is important?
Yeah, it is. And it is a must, let me say. Because in Kiswahili we say, mtoto akibebo huangalia kisogo cha mamaye. That means that whatever you do, as a parent, is going to affect the child the rest of our life, or the rest of their lives. For example, if you haven't taught your child on how to take a bath, for example. So how do you expect that child, when he or she is grown up, to be able to be clean in terms of cleanliness, because cleanliness is next to godliness. So if you teach a child while he or she is young, then she will grow up knowing that this is right and this is wrong. And she will grow according to the way you've taught. So teaching a child is important.
Asante sana, Doreen, Kakai, for those inputs. But at this point in time, we are taking a short break here at Mtoto News Insights. But don't go too far. We are coming back with more on this topic, so stay tuned. Welcome back to Mtoto News Insights. Before we took a break, we were continuing the discussion on the importance of giving children early responsibilities. And I was with you, Sheila. Sindio? So, Sheila, the question next is, do you believe that it is important to give children early responsibilities?
Yes, because you see, it's from these early responsibilities, like the way Doreen and Brian has mentioned earlier, we have so many different types of responsibilities. You know, you will always sit down and say, my mom always said it is this way. My mom always said to me that this way is how you're supposed to do it. You know, it's responsibility. And also, you know, our parents are also like our spiritual parents. You know, what they say to us and what they tell us to do, we emulate what they say. Venye alikuwa amesema mtoto utazama kisogo cha nina, sio? What they say to us,
yes.
What they do, we emulate, like we copy them.
Yes.
Tuna imitate, we're like a photocopy.
Yeah.
So them implying irresponsibility to us, ni kama wanatuambia, you know what, Omar, ni ustaarabu kuchana nywele.
Yes.
You know what, this is this and this. So
yeah.
I think it's very important.
Asante sana, Sheila Lwangu, for those inputs. Now let's go to Brian. So today we are talking about responsibilities and responsibilities at large, and the importance of teaching children early responsibilities. So Brian, have you ever saved any cash?
Mom, yes. No, there was a time where I lied to my mom that I had saved a lot of money, and it really brought a lot of conflict. But yes, I do try and save a bit here and there. Of course, I do end up spending it at the end of the day. I do not have an NSSF somewhere, but yes, I do save.
Okay, so like I want you now to tell me the experience of trying to save cash.
My mom bought me a piggy bank. This pink little thing, you remember, it was made out of mabati. I remember I used to like destroy it every time. But she didn't buy me a new one. She always found a way to fix it. And it was just her way of showing me how to save. I used to take money from her purse, save it, chukua funguo, just throw it inside there, so that you feel like that thing can add something. So I guess the experience of saving her has always, I mean, after all, it gives you a sense of personal responsibility.
Yes.
And an individual with a high sense of personal, individual responsibility, has a very high perspective and as in high prosperity rates. Like this person is more likely to succeed in school, workplace, and even in society at large.
Asante sana, Brian. Let's come to Doreen. Doreen, you personally as a child, have you ever had any experience in trying to save money And if you did actually save money, how was the the whole experience? Did you only choke out or you just spend the cash? How was the experience?
Yeah.
Have you ever saved cash?
Yeah, in fact, it was this year. So I started out January with like, this year I'm gonna save. So I started saving, I saved, and then it came, I don't know, it was August or something. Then I got tired of it. I just said like, I need to use this money. You know, this thing that it was in a home bank, right? So I wanted some money. I just removed 50 because it is a note. I removed 50 shillings. Day by day, whenever I need the money, I remove 50 shillings and I spend. So at the end of the day, then I said, what am I doing anyway? So I just removed the money, and right now, I'm just there. I ate the money. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe do you think now that it is important for children to be saving?
It is important because as I've told you, whenever I needed the money really bad and my parents couldn't give me, I just took the money. So if you are saving, you don't need to depend for your parents to give you. You can just get your own money and use it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Asante sana Doreen Kakai. Let's go straight to Sheila. Sheila, now I want you to tell me if you've ever saved. Please be truthful. And how was the experience when you tried, to try saving? And did you do like most Kenyans, just remove all the cash and all that?
Kenyan culture. Okay, this is for mom. Nili save. No one has save. Okay, yes, Omar, I have saved. I have saved quite. But in high school, I'll bring peer pressure kidogo. Yes. So I was saving. Then there's these girls. We decided, you know what, girls, we need to go for at least we go shop as girls. So peer pressure now, it was like ilikuwa kama kitu chama. You bring the amount you have. So the following day, si watu wako na savings kwao. Now someone comes with 3K. You're like, what? Kwani unatuzima? Another one comes with 2K. Another hivyo sasa. So because of the pressure and I'm saving and I want to fit in that group, at least I go shopping as a group. Unajua the way it feels going.
Yes.
Yeah. Now I had to use my savings. But let me tell you, it's very, very, very important for us children to save, because as much as we save, we are like, that is learning how to use money. It's not being an economist, but that is, you learn how to spend your money. Okay, let's say speak about high school, because once you're in a day school, kuna canteen shule, and maybe you're given 50 shillings daily. You buy mandazi for 10 shillings and then 40 shillings you save. Or maybe ukienda jioni unakula maembe, sio? Yeah, unapita hapo kuna tule mse wa maembe pale. You want your pilipili, you buy for 10 bob and then you save 30 bob. Trust me, when at a period of time, this money is going to be useful. It always, I don't know, it is that feeling of a pride when your child comes to you telling you, you know what, mom, I have 5,000 that I saved. Do you remember you always give me 50 shillings? Now I have this and I want to use to do this. It's very proud to parents. This is to parents. And also as children, we just need to save. Don't be driven with peer pressure kama Sheila. Sawa.
Asante sana Sheila. Now let's come to Brian. Brian, do you think that children should be, handling cash, or is it, like parents most of them might say that children are not supposed to handle cash, and it's just, they should just be, everything is paid for, like if they want something the parent goes pays? Or do you think children should be taught maybe on how to handle cash, or should they themselves be able to handle cash?
Omar, I think your question is wrong. Because the question is not really about whether or not children are going to handle money. It's whether or not, to you parents, it's whether or not the children are going to handle your money. Okay? And if you don't let them handle your money, they will handle money from somewhere else. So I think it's very important for parents to actually be able to convince themselves that they can trust their children to handle money.
So basically children should handle cash.
They should be taught on how to handle cash. Children are going to handle. No. Children are going to handle cash. Your question is whether they should handle. They do handle cash, whether or not we say yes or not. Exactly. If you don't give them money, they will steal it from you. If you don't give them money, they'll find.
So they should be taught on how to handle.
Yes, by their parents. Parents should learn to give the children allowances so that they can be, no matter how young they are. are. Even 5 shillings, give that child, mwambie ukieka 5 shillings hadi next week nitakupatia 10 bob. That is teaching your child how to teaching your child how to save. So yes, that is basically it. Children should be allowed to handle money by their parents.
Thank you so much, Brian. Let's go to Doreen. Doreen, what are some of these advantages that can come about when children are taught on how to handle cash and when they are taught on how to save? What are some of these advantages?
Okay, let me start with the advantages. Let me say, for example, a child before was never taught on how to save money. Let me say, for example, he goes to stay with the uncle or the auntie or whatever. So now the uncle gives her money or him. Now the child will be like, oh, so there's this thing called money. So the child, he has never handled money before, and you don't know how the child will end up using the money. Let me say, for example, maybe the uncle gave him, let me say, 20 shillings to go and buy lollipop, and then the child find it interesting, right? So tomorrow he will again and again want the money. So I think in a way it is going to spoil the child if the child is not able to if the child is not taught on handling money before. And let me say the second advantage on teaching a child to handle money is now you'll teach the child on how to save, for example, because now the child, he knows that if we don't have this money, now how are we going to survive in the house? So it's going to teach the child on how to save, because money is important for our daily lives.
Okay. Thank you so much, Doreen, for those inputs. Now, Sheila, where do we draw the line when it comes to giving children responsibilities so as to avoid child labor and when handling cash?
Okay, I'll say this as a religious child and with all respect to all parents and guardians and everyone, there is this, you can teach your child on how to wash utensils, how to handle money, how to cook, how to tidy your bed after you've woken up, everything, that is about responsibility. But this comes as a child labor, or this comes as a labor when you leave everything to your child. There are those parents that think that, what, washing utensils is not my thing. They're like, last year I washed everything. Now that you are here, you were born to assist me. Yes, we can do those house chores. But I say this with respect. No child wrote a letter to come to this world. So as much as we are in this world, as much as we are living this thing, please, parents, there's a time you need to assist us as children. You need to give us responsibility. Like when you do this, and let us help one another. Don't just leave these things to children like, this is you children, you're supposed to do it. I gave birth to you, so I'm taking you to school. No, that is like you're implying payments. Because I did this, I want you to do this in return. It's kind of a partnership. Yeah. And then something else maybe to wind up on it is responsibilities comes in this way. You cannot give me 1 million and tell me to go buy whatever I want, because we as children, we are cheeky at some point. We'll be given money and we see advertisement on TV and we will want to buy something that it's harmful to our health. So parents, as much as we want to save, as much as you're teaching us to be responsible adults in future and not to mismanage money or misuse money, please, there is a certain amount of money you can give a child. If you give a child something like 10,000, and there are always bad companies, toxic friends in school, they will influence your child to do something wrong. Now you start blaming yourself, and maybe because you gave firstborn 10,000 and that firstborn alienda mrama, now you don't want to give the other ones. So let's give these children, if it's 50 bob, you always give out and give out responsibility. I'm giving you this 50 bob. Please, my child, ensure you save something. Don't misuse money. Sawa. Usibai crepes, ubai chipo, ubai bajia. Yote ni waru. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila, for those inputs. Now let's come to Brand. Brand, where do we draw the line when it comes to giving children responsibilities?
Thank you so much, Omar. I actually love that Sheila actually mentioned that. I actually once wrote a paper on where do chores cross the line, because some parents mistake children for a cheap source of labor. If you have a business, hire employees. Children are not your employees. It is good for you to teach them responsibility. Do not overburden them. If they wash utensils for lunch, it is not their duty to take care of you. It is is your duty to take care of your children, not the other way around. You should not mistake that. Child labor is a punishable offense to the parents, and you need to draw the line at some particular point. Do not overburden the children. And to the children, I guess we always forget the children. The children, being responsible is about being reliable and dependable. It's about honoring your commitments and staying true to the word that you give. Okay? If you say you're gonna do something, do it. Please also don't over misuse our rights. Ati mom staosha nyumba niliosha vyombo and child labor. Utachapa, my friend. So yeah, let's be careful. Each one of us has a line that we should make sure we are not crossing.
Thank you so much, Brian, for those inputs. Now let's come to Kakai. Kakai, maybe you can tell us some of the limitations where we draw the line when it comes to responsibilities and handling cash, and also you can tell us your final word.
Thank you. I love the way Sheila has explained it, that your responsibility is that if you give a child money, just know that there's this money that you can't give a child. For example, you give a child 1,000 shillings and tell the child go and buy lollipop. What do you expect? The obvious must be a change. So, right, sometimes I come to agree that instead of giving the child the money, why don't you buy for him lollipop instead? So that at a time, we know that money isn't the requirement for our daily lives.
Very true.
Yeah. My final word in this topic is that children, let us be responsible. Let us take our responsibility seriously. And let me say to the parents, let the parents raise their children according to the word of God. Let me say, like, for example, there's no way that you can take a child... which word should I use? There is no way you can take a child to a bar, buy for him soda, and then you expect when you take let me say a beer, and then expect that the child when he's growing up to be taking soda in a bar. Let the parents raise their children according to the word of God. They must know that God is the foundation of everything. So if the parents raise their children according to the word of God, then the child will grow up fearfully. And wherever the parents tell the child will know that this is right and this is wrong. Thank you.
Amen, Doreen, Kakai. Thank you so much for those beautiful inputs. Basically, let's all just be realistic and give children responsibilities they will be able to handle, and let's not cross the line, and let us ensure that the children are having fair responsibilities, especially when we have siblings. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to keep the conversation flowing at our social media platforms at Mtoto News, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also find us on TikTok and our beautiful website at www.mtotos.com. You can also find me at all social media platforms at Omar Hamed 83. But for now, we say goodbye.